Hello guys, welcome back to the class. So in the beginning of the previous class, I have shown this network. This is the network image which I have shown you, and I've told that I will configure a network with 2 routers and 2 switches. But as I progressed through the class, the image or the network completely changed to something like this. We had 3 routers and 3 switches to Hyderabad router and single switches to Dubai and Moscow routers respectively. So let me stick to this network topology itself. So let me create a network right from the scratch, something like this. So let us start learning how to configure a router and create a network to understand how network functions. In order to do that, let me pull a router. For example, let me pull this router which is 2911 Cisco 2911 router, and the display name is router 0. So let me double click on the router, and if I move to config tab, the device is now booting. OK, and under CLI we already have no, because would you like to enter initial configuration dialog? No. And now we are in a user execution mode. As you can see the prompt over here, which is router with right arrow over here. I hope the fonts are too small to see, so let me change the font size. Close. Let me go to the options, preferences, and we need the font size for the CLI, that is command line interface, and let me change it to something like 14 or 15. 14 should be fine enough, I guess. Click on apply, and that's okay. And if I double click now, as you can see, the font is big enough to see now. And before that, let me move to the physical tab over here, and as you can see here, we have 4 empty slots. This is a modular router, not a static router. So we have 4 empty slots. We have management ports, that is auxiliary and console ports. We have gigabit ethernet ports, gigabit ethernet 0001, I guess. It's very hard to see. So let me close this once, and if I scroll my mouse over here, you can see all the interfaces of this router. We have gigabit ethernet 00, 01 and 02, and we have VLAN 1, and all the links are down because we don't have any IP addresses assigned to these interfaces. So let me double click on this router once again, and we need a serial interface because we have to add 2 more routers, Dubai and Moscow routers, and we have to add using serial cables only, and for that you need a serial interfaces. So let me go to the module section over here, and let me select this module HWIC2T. When I clicked on that module, you can see the description of this module. It is Cisco 2-port serial high-speed WAN interface. So this is what I want, and you can see the image of this interface over here. You can hardly see, I know. So let me drag and drop on one of these empty slots, and you cannot add the module when the device is actually powered on. So for that, let me click on this OK button, and here you can see the device is powered on. The green switch or green light is enabled, you can see. And let me power off the switch now. The device is now powered off. Now we can pull and push, or you can drag and drop over here in one of the empty slots. Now if I close this interface once, and again if I place my cursor, you can see all the interfaces or ports on this router. Earlier we had only 3 gigabit ethernet ports. We did not had serial ports. Now we have serial ports 030 and 031, and again the links are down. So let me double click once again, and let me now power on this device, which you should power on in order to configure this router. So let me power on this device, and as you can see, the device is now booting once again. Okay, let me move to CLI tab. Let me type no, and we are in user execution mode. And as you have seen few commands in the earlier class, in order to move from user execution mode to privilege mode, in order to configure this router, you have to type a command enable, ENABLE. So as you can see, the prompt is now changed from router, this forward arrow, to the router hash. Okay, in order to get back to the user execution mode, the command is disable, DISABLE, or okay, let me hit enter. Okay, once. So you are in user execution mode. What I wanted to show earlier was command completion. If I type EN and hit tab on your keyboard, the command will be completed. As you can see, I just pressed tab on my keyboard. Now the command is auto completed by itself. or you can use short commands as well, something like this, en for enable. Now you are in a privilege mode. Now you have to configure this router. Before configuring this router, we have some commands like show commands, like show version. It will show the version of this iOS image. As you can see over here, Cisco iOS software 2900 series. We have 2911 router and the version is 15.1, and this is the description of this image over here, which is flash C2900 universal and blah blah blah. It's a bin file and small other information of this iOS, Cisco iOS 2900. If you hit enter on your keyboard, you will get few other information like license info, PID, this is the PID, and serial number and so on. So we are in privilege mode again. Now we have to move to global configuration mode. Before moving to global configuration mode, let us see some more show commands, like say for example show flash. And as you can see, the directory has 3 files over here, a bin file, XML and XML, which has length in bytes, and the total length is, as you can see the number, this is the total size of this directory in bytes, and this is the bin file from which you are getting this iOS. And now let me hit enter once again. Show IP interfaces. This will show the interfaces on your router. As you can see, gigabit Ethernet 00, 01, 02, serial port 030 and 031. We have VLAN 1, which we have seen earlier. You can use up arrow to see the earlier command. Use the up arrow on your keyboard to see the earlier command. And if I type show IP interface brief, BRIEF, and I am clicking tab on my keyboard for auto completion of this command, it's BRI not BRE, BRI again tab, so show IP interface brief. If I hit enter, this will give you a nice display of the interfaces information. All the interfaces has IP address unassigned, so no IP addresses has been assigned to these interfaces, and administratively all these interfaces are down now. So we are in privilege mode again, and let us see few more commands like show clock, show auto completion. And if I hit enter, it's 5:19:5:32 UTC morning, March 1st 1993. It's actually 2022. So let me set the clock first. So in order to do that, the command is clock set time. Now the time is 13 hours 13 minutes and 13 seconds, and the date is 26th February. So actually you should not type 26th, you should type 26, but let me give the wrong command and let me type February. So let me type the February spelling wrong as well, RRARY. Okay, that is a wrong spelling. So if I now hit enter on the keyboard, you will see an invalid input detected, and the detected at 26, the date is mentioned as wrong. So let me go back using the up arrow and remove the TH at 26th. Okay, now if I hit enter again we have an invalid input detected, or invalid input detected at February spelling. So let me correct this spelling. What is the spelling of February? FEBRUARY, I guess, if I'm not wrong. Incomplete command. What did I do there? Oh, I should mention the year also. It's 2022. So now we have set the time and date including the year. If I see the show clock again, we have the time and date set on this router. Now in order to configure this router, you have to move from user privilege mode to global configuration mode, and in order to do that, you have to type the command configure terminal. So you don't need to type the entire command. So this is a prompt changed from router hash. This is the router hash to router configure. So we are in now global configuration mode. So let me get back to the privilege mode once. and for that you have to type the command exit, and we are in privilege mode. As said, you don't need to type the command completely. You can simply type config T. A shortcut can be used, sorry, config, it's not config, it's config T. So you can use the shortcut, and if I hit enter, you are in a configuration mode or global configuration mode. And from now here you can actually configure the router, assign IP addresses to the interfaces, and so on. So let us start doing some configurations on this router. Before that, let me minimize this and let me go back to the physical tab over here, sorry, on the config tab over here. As you can see, the host name is router and the display name is 0. If you see, the display name is 0 and the host name is router. So let me change the host name first, and for that the command is hostname and Hyderabad. It is a Hyderabad primary router or a main router, HYDERABAD. This is the city where I live actually, and as you can see, now the name is changed from router to Hyderabad, but the display name won't change over here. The display name does not change over here. So for that you have to go back to the config tab and you can change the name over here like Hyderabad. So that's it. So now let me go back to CLI mode once again. So we have changed this router name or host name from router to Hyderabad. And if I give some ROM command over here, like say for example, if I give backward slash and if I hit enter by mistake, what happens? Translating domain server 255.255.255.255. Actually it is trying to translate this wrong command to an IP address. Okay, so in order to stop this translation, you have to give the command no IP domain lookup, and for that you have to move from privilege mode to global configuration mode. For that you have to type configure terminal, and we are in global configuration mode, and here you have to type the command no IP domain lookup. So command completion, no IP domain lookup, hit enter. Now if I type the wrong command again, it should actually stop. Yeah, now we have only invalid input detected. So what we have done is we have turned off the name resolution on unrecognized commands, because the backward slash is unrecognized command. So we have stopped the translation to an IP address. That is nothing but turning off the name resolution on unrecognized commands. Now let us configure the message of the day, a banner. When you actually try to log into this router, you will see a message or a banner, and for that you have to configure the banner like authorized access only or input your login password and so on. So for that the command is banner MOTD, message of the day. MOTD stands for message of the day, and between two hashes you have to give the message like authorized access only. You can give any message as a banner, authorized access only, or like enter your password, enter password, and so on. So let me give authorized access only, and now the banner is now configured. So let me exit from this GCM global configuration mode, and we are in privilege mode. Let me type the exit once again, exit. So as you can see, now we have this message of the day banner, authorized access only. So again, enable config T. Now we are in GCM global configuration mode. Now we have to give the password for the enable here, because for example, if I type enter password to log into this router, so you have to put your password, and for that you have to configure the password on the enable, and for that the command is enable enable secret, and the password could be something like great password or great pass. hit enter. And the next command is service password encryption to give the weak encryption of this password, service password encryption, and hit enter. Now let me exit once again, exit and exit once again. Now if I hit enter, so password prompt did not appear over here. So where will I type the password? So when I type actually enable like en, now you have to give the password in order to get from user execution mode to a privilege mode. So the password is great pass. Did I type the wrong password? GREATPASS. So as you can see, when I have given the correct password, I have an access to the privilege mode. Now let me go back to the configuration terminal again, configure T. Now we are going to configure the lines, that is line auxiliary 0, line console 0, that is administrative ports, and we have telnet lines also 0 to 4 for remote administration of this router or remote access for this router. So in order to configure that, the command is line console 0, console 0. As you can see, now the configuration, the prompt has changed from config to config -line. That means that we are in now a line mode. Okay, from global configuration mode we have now switched to or moved to line mode. Here you have to now configure the lines. Logging synchronous, and it is a command that will not be interrupted by any unsolicited messages. So logging synchronous, hit enter. Now I want to secure this console line with a password. So let me configure a password for this console 0. So password, and the password is like something Kiran123. And now I have to type command login so that the password will, login, so that the password will be applied to this line. So if I now type exit, and again if I type exit, if I want to move from privilege mode to line mode, you have to go to configuration mode, configure T. Now if I want to go to the line console 0, line console 0, now password was not asked. Okay, but why did this happen? You have to log out from the device first. Okay, exit, again exit, you have to log out. Now authorized access only, you have to put the password. Now I have to give the password Kiran123. See now actually I have an access, user verification access has been done. Now actually I can use the console port to configure this router. Now if I type enable again, I am asked for the password again to get into the privilege mode, which is a great pass. So that was configuring line console 0 by securing the line with a password Kiran123. Now we have to configure the other two lines, which is auxiliary 0 as well as telnet lines. So for that you have to move to the line auxiliary 0 again. For that you have to type command configure terminal again, config T, and from here you have to give line auxiliary 0, aux 0, logging synchronous, so commands will not be interrupted by any type of wrong messages, logging synchronous. And now you have to give the password for this auxiliary line. So securing the auxiliary line with the password, again password is Kiran123 for example. Again you have to type the command login. So now let me type exit again. We are in global configuration mode again, and now again I am going to line VTY, that is virtual terminals 0 to 4, and again password Kiran123. So when I want to actually connect to this computer using telnet or SSH, then I have to mention this password. So I will type password as remote pass. Okay, so login again, exit and exit. So I will show you how to remotely connect to this router using telnet using a computer. Let me go back. Where is the end device? Okay, let me pull in. So using this PC, I will show you how to remotely connect using Telnet to this router in order to configure this router. I will do this later. So there will be a connection between these two devices and I will show how a Telnet session is established. Now if I type command show IP interfaces brief, we have to now configure all these interfaces. We have only configured these lines and actually renamed the router to Hyderabad, that's it. So we have to now assign IP addresses to all these interfaces, and in order to do that you have to go to the interface mode, and for that you have to move to global configuration mode first, config terminal. Now you have to move to the interface mode, and command for moving to interface mode is interface and the name of the interface and gigabit ethernet 0x0. So we are moving to interface gigabit ethernet 0x0. Hit enter. Now you have to mention the IP address or assign the IP address to this interface, and the command is IP address and mention the IP address itself. So let us take an example of IP address as 172.16.10.1 and the subnet mask will be like 255.255.240.0, which is /20. Now bad mask. Why bad mask? Sorry, it's 255.255.240.0. Now it's a good mask. Now you have to turn on this interface. By default all interfaces are turned off. We have just assigned the IP address. Now you have to turn on this interface by using the command no shutdown. Hit enter. Now if I exit from this interface mode and if I type the exit command again, in here if I type show IP interface brief, you can see that we have assigned IP address 172.16.10.1 to gigabit ethernet 0/0 interface. It's okay. Method is manual assignment and the status or the link is now up. If I close this and if I put my mouse over here, you can see the IP address is assigned as well and the link is up, and the MAC address of this interface gigabit ethernet 0/0 is that you can see over here, MAC address table. So let us assign IP addresses to all other interfaces as well. So let me go back to the CLI terminal and now let me go back to other interface gigabit ethernet 0/1, configure terminal, then interface gigabit ethernet 0/1. Now let me assign the IP address 172.16.20.1 this time. Earlier we have assigned 10.1 to 0x0 gigabit ethernet, and for gigabit ethernet 0/1 I am assigning IP address 172.16.20.1, but I am changing the subnet mask to something like /16, that is 255.255.0/0. Hit enter. So let me change the IP address. We have some overlaps. Let me change the IP address to something like 10.0.1.1 and the subnet mask will be 255.255.0.0. We don't have any overlaps now. Now no shutdown, and hit enter, and as you can see link file changed and the status is now up. So let me go back to other interface, exit. Now interface gigabit ethernet 0/2, IP address would be like something like 192.168.21.1, and I will give subnet mask as 255.255.255. 0. Hit enter, and again the command is no shutdown in order to turn on this interface. No shutdown. So in order to turn on this interface, hit enter, and the state is changed to up. The link is now up. Exit. If I minimize it and if I place my cursor on this router, you can see all 3 gigabit Ethernet interfaces are now up, and they have different IP addresses assigned to those interfaces. Now let me configure the serial ports as well. So let me go back to the terminal, and here you have to type exit command and move to serial interface. So interface serial 030, and let me assign the IP address as IP add 192.168.0.1, and the subnet mask would be like 255.255.255.240. That should be fine, I guess. So no shutdown. Now we have assigned the IP address, however the link is down. That should not be a problem right now. So let me type exit command and move to another serial interface, that is interface serial 0, 3 and 1, and IP address would be something like, say for example 192.168. earlier it was 0.1, so let me now type 10.1, and the subnet mask would be like 255.255.128, like it would be /10. Hit enter and no shutdown. So exit, again exit. Now type command show IP interface brief. As you can see, serial interface is not assigned. What? I have assigned the serial interface IP address, right? So let me check once over here. I hope you have noticed the mistake what I have did. I have assigned IP address to serial interface 031 twice. So that was the mistake. So let me configure this serial interface 030 once again. IP address of 031 will be 192.168.10.1. So let me start configuring interface 030. So let me type the IP address again from the starting. We are on the interface. IP address 192.168.0.1 255.255. Let me change it to 128.0 as subnet mask. Overlaps, so not an issue. So I should have written the topology earlier. I am writing these IP addresses or assigning the IP addresses just on the fly. So no plan was made earlier. So for the demonstration purpose, I'm just taking these random IP addresses. So no shutdown. So we don't have any overlaps now. Now it should be fine, I guess. Exit. Show IP address. Interface brief. Yeah, now we have all the IP addresses assigned to all the interfaces over here. So now what I'm going to do is I'll delete this PC now. I'll show you how to connect to this router remotely. I'll show it later. So as of now, let me delete this. So what I will do is I'll add 2 more routers to this application interface. Let me add 2901 and let me add some other router like 2811. So 2811 will be the Moscow router and 2901 will be the Dubai router. So let me double click to check the router interfaces. So as you can see, we need one serial interface. So let me go here and power off, drag the serial interface over here. Let me power on the Dubai router, close it, and let me check the Moscow router as well. So even this is a modular router. So zoom in, power off, and where is it? WIC1T. We need one serial interface. That could be fine. No, we don't want this one. Leave it. This should be fine, I guess. Okay, now power on this device. So we have totally 3 routers on this interface. This is a Hyderabad router. 2811 will be the Moscow router and 2901 will be the Dubai router. Now what are the interfaces available? We have 2 serial interfaces and 2 fast Ethernet interfaces. And for the Dubai router we have 2 serial interfaces and 2 gigabit Ethernet interfaces. So not an issue. So let me go to the switches part and drag switches to this application interface over here. So let me add 3 switches to this internal network for Hyderabad router. So let me go to the connections and I have connected switch 2 to this router. So let me click on this green icon and select on which port I should connect. Click, select the router. So I am connecting the switch 2 to gigabit Ethernet 0/2. Okay, again I am connecting switch 1 to, now connected, click on the green icon, gigabit Ethernet 0/1, and again I am connecting switch 0 to port gigabit Ethernet 0/0. So I am selecting gigabit Ethernet 0/0. I am not connecting to auxiliary port. And let me add 2 switches, one for Dubai router and one for Moscow router. So let me interchange this so that we will follow the serial numbers. So now let me connect these routers. So let me use serial DCE cable, connect Moscow router to Moscow router serial 2/0 to Hyderabad router serial 3/0. Okay, so as you can see, serial 2/020 is connected to 030 on this Hyderabad router, and for Dubai router let me take the same serial DCE cable, connect serial 0100 to 031. So let me change over here, 001 to 031. So now we have 2 routers connected to Hyderabad router, Moscow and Dubai. So let me change the display name over here. This is Moscow router, and this would be Dubai router. I am only changing the display names. I am not changing the host name. If I change the host name over here as Dubai, a command will be executed over here. Okay, earlier I have changed the host name of Hyderabad router from the CLI terminal as command host name then Hyderabad. Now if I type Dubai, see down over here, a command will be executed as host name in global configuration mode. As you can see, in global configuration mode, hostname Dubai is executed. So as you can see, now this is named as Dubai. So let me take cable connected to the switch and another cable connected to switch, and let me add n devices to all these network. PC1, PC2, laptop 1, and few PCs over here as well. Let me add one network printer over here. and let me add one PC or PC and a laptop over here, or let me add one server as well over here. It could be some mail server or a web server, something like that. And get back to connections. Connect PC to the switch. You can connect on any port. You have so many ports over on the switch. As you can see, if I place my cursor on this switch, you have so many ports. Fast Ethernet 0/1 is up, as I have connected PC 5 to this Fast Ethernet 0/1 and laptop 1 to Fast Ethernet 0/2. And let me connect the server as well to Fast Ethernet 0/3. As you can see, Fast Ethernet 0/3 is now up and the link is up. Similarly, let me connect all the devices to the switches respectively. Fast Ethernet 01, 02 and 03 are now up. And similarly, let me give connections to these devices as well. You can add smartphones, tablets and other end devices as well that you are seeing over here, like TV, VoIP device, IP phone, etc. So this would be like, for example, IT switch, IT department switch, and this would be like something like finance department, and this would be like HR department. So we have Cisco router 2960 for HR department, and the same series routers to finance and IT departments as well. And in here, let me add 2 sample devices to these internal networks, PC1 and laptop 1, and let me do some cabling work over here. This is the cabling work. So now we have a network and we have cables connected, but we have to configure all these devices. We have to assign IP addresses to all these devices, which is a tedious task, but I have to do for sure. The only thing we have did till now is that we have configured this router. That's it. So let me configure this router, Moscow router and Dubai router as well. As you can see, the host name is changed to Moscow. Exit. Let me go to CLI. What I will do is I will assign IP addresses to these routers Fast Ethernet, that is local LAN, as well as serial interface from this configuration tab. As you can see over here, we have a lot of options. So let me go to Fast Ethernet 0/0 and 0/1. I don't know which interface I should select. In order to know that, I will go to this red button over here. I'll click on this, then I will select, then I will choose Fast Ethernet 0/1. Cable cannot be connected to that port. Sorry, I'll choose serial 2/0 over here. So I have to assign IP address to serial 2/0. Now, so let me go back to serial 2/0. So what IP address should I assign is very important and a tricky thing. As you know here, this is serial interface which is connected to serial 3/030, and if I click on this router terminal and go to config serial 3/0, the IP address is 192.168.0.1. So I should give the IP address 192.168.0. something other with the same subnet mask. So 192.168.0.1. Here I am giving 192.168.0.2, and the subnet mask would be something like 255, 255, 255 and 240, I guess, right? And as you can see over here, we have moved to interface mode and we have assigned the IP address and the one thing I have to give is no shutdown. So if I click on this button, if I select this, so no shutdown will appear and the interface is now up and running. And if I place my cursor on this router, you can see that serial 030 is now up, okay, while the serial 031 is still down. So I have to configure the Dubai router with an IP address. So let me go back to the Dubai router and let me come back and check what interface should I configure. For that, let me close this and click on this red triangle icon, click on the router, and I am going to select 000. Okay, so now I should configure this interface by assigning an IP address. And again, the tricky part is I should go to this router and see what IP address is assigned to serial 031. It is 192.168.10.1. so the IP address on this router will be 192.168.10.2 or 3 or 4, it could be anything. Sorry, it's 10.2. 1, and the subnet mask will be 255.255.255.128, I guess, because the subnet mask was /25. So let me turn on this interface by clicking over here. So no shutdown command is executed. Now as you can see, we have green lights blinking on this link. It means that all these links are now up and running. So if I place my cursor on this router again, as you can see, now all the links are up and running on this router, which is Hyderabad router. But if I place my cursor on this Dubai router, only one link is up, which is serial interface, which is connected to Hyderabad router. Now I have to assign IP address to this interface, the red one which you are seeing over here. So what is that interface? I don't know. So let me click on the red triangle, connect. So it would be like gigabit Ethernet 0x0. So now I have to configure this internal LAN network. So it is 0x0, right? Gigabit Ethernet 0x0. I'll double click on this and 0x0. I'll assign some IP address like 192.168.40.1. Subnet mask is 255.255.0.0. and turn on this interface, and as you can see, now we have this interface green light over here while we have red light on this Moscow interface. So this is now up and running. This interface on Dubai router is now up and running, not an issue. So let me close this now. So let me check the IP addresses once again, 192.168.10.2 and 192.168.40.1 for gigabit Ethernet. So let me assign the IP address to this LAN interface over here, which is, I don't know, again, let me click on red triangle and I will select fast Ethernet 0x0. So double click on the Moscow router, fast Ethernet 0x0. Now I'll assign 10.10.10.1. okay, and turn on the interface. So as you can see, it's now turned to green. Okay, so what I have did is I have configured this Dubai router with a host name, as well as I have configured two interfaces, serial interface which has WAN connectivity to Hyderabad router, and a LAN interface which is fast Ethernet which is connected to a switch. And similarly on the Moscow router, I have configured the WAN interface which is connected to Hyderabad router, and I have assigned IP address, configured the fast Ethernet, that is LAN interface, to the switch. So we have totally one local network over here in my Moscow sub branch, and one local network in Dubai sub branch, and the main branch is at Hyderabad, India, and which have 3 departments. Now I should be able to ping from this laptop to this laptop. No, it is not possible because none of the devices over here have IP addresses. So we have to assign IP addresses to all these machines as well. So let me double click on this PC. Now let me go to the desktop. On the PC you have so many facilities, like you can here configure the IP addresses, you can use the terminal for remote connection, you can use the command prompt, like you can do that in the Windows, like your CMD in the Windows. You can use the web browser, you can use the PC wireless VPN, you can generate traffic for testing purpose and so on. And by using telnet, and we can connect to remote devices using its IP address. Okay, so let me now actually configure the IP address to this PC number 5. So let's start from the first machine, which is, anyway, let's start from PC number 5, which is connected to Hyderabad internal router, which is PC of IT department. And what is this? What is this interface? Gigabit 0/2. So 0/2 is having IP address 192.168.21.1. So all devices should have network ID as 192.168.21.1 because its subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. So 192.168.21 copy. I'll change this to 2. Double click, IP configuration, IP4 192.168.20.2. Subnet mask is 255.255.255.0 and the default gateway is 192.168.21.1 and DNS server is 192.168.21.1 as well. Now let me close it. Let me open this machine again. If I go to command prompt and if I ping 192.168.21.1, I should get reply, and yes, I am getting the reply. Control C to cancel it. Now let me assign IP address to this laptop as well, which is part of IT department. We have already 2, so let me configure this 3. So desktop IP address 192.168.21.3, subnet mask /24, gateway and DNS server. Close, and I have to assign the IP address for the server as well. Desktop 192.168.21.10, subnet mask is /24, gateway is 192.168.21.1 and DNS server is 21.1 as well. Now I should be able to ping to, now from the server I should be able to ping to 192.168.21.1 because it is on a single network segment. Okay, so let me open it. Where is the command prompt? Ping 192.168.21.1. yes, I am getting the replies, and 21.2. yes, I am getting the echo replies, ping replies, and I am getting the ping replies, and I will get the ping replies on 3 as well. I should get, yes, I am getting. So successfully we have created a small internal network in IT department, where all the computers in this department can communicate with each other. However, it cannot connect or cannot ping to these devices as they are not having any kind of IP addresses. So let me assign IP address to these machines as well now. So guys, allow me to do some artistic work so that this network will look little bit clean and I can make you understand the networks over here, because we are going to add static routes so that all the devices can communicate with each other. Now as you can see over here, we have 7 networks. Network 1, as you can see in this red ring, 192.168.40 network with /24 as subnet mask. Then we have network 2, which is 192.168.10.0 with /25 as subnet mask. And as you can see further, we have network 3, which is 192.168.21.0 /24. Then we have 172.16.0 and /20 as the subnet mask. And then we have 10.0.0.0 /16 as subnet mask. It means that we have 10 and 0. The first 2 octets is the network portion and the other 2, that is 0.0, are the host portions. And 6th we have 192.168.0.0 /28 as subnet mask, that is a network number 6. And the final network is 10.0.0.0 /8 as subnet mask. Now in order for each of these machines to communicate with each other, we have to create static routes. Generally, routing protocols like RIP, not rest in peace, it is routing information protocol. Then we have IGRP, interior gateway routing protocol, EIGRP, enhanced interior gateway routing protocol, OSPF, open shortest path first, and so on. We have routing protocols are used on real-time networks in order to create routing between the networks, but we are going to create static networks for the demonstration purpose. So let us start creating a static routes on these networks so that all the machines can communicate with each other. So let us start by doing some ping test over here. So let me hit on this computer whose IP address is, as you can see over here, 10.0.1.4. Let me go to desktop tab and in here command prompt. Now if I do ping test, ping 10.0.1.3, that's a machine over. As you can see, we get the ping replies. So actually I'm pinging from this machine to this machine, both are on same network, so obviously I will get the ping replies. But if I ping the router interface 10.0.1.1, I'm getting the ping replies from the router interface. And let me actually ping system from another network, like say for example, let me ping 172.16.10.2, ping 172.16.10.2. I should get the ping replies. I'm expecting the ping replies because yes, we are getting the ping replies because actually they are directly connected. As if I go to the router over here and in the CLI, password is Kiran123, enable, again we are asked password, great pass, PSS. Now if I type show IP route, as you can see over here, these networks are directly connected to each other, so obviously I should get the ping replies which are connected to the same router. But if I close this terminal and if I go to the same machine, which is 10.0.1.4, and if I do the ping to another network which are not on the same router, say for example, if I want to ping this computer 10.10.10.10 which is connected to a Moscow router 10.10.10.10, I should not get any replies from this machine. So reply from 10.10.10 actually it is. So destination host is unreachable. So let me do it again. So we don't get any ping replies. So we have to configure the static routes. So let's start configuring the static routes now. So before configuring the static routes, let me type the the IP addresses, that is network details, and the subnet mask, because we have to mention network address and the subnet mask in order to configure the routes on any router. So this should be, for example, if I place my cursor on this router, it is gigabit Ethernet 00 is 192.168.40 is a network, and /24. So this network is 192.168.40.0 and subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, and for this the network ID of serial interface is 192.168.10.2/25. /25 means 128. Okay, so 192.168.10.0 and subnet mask is 255.255.255.128. okay, /25. And next we have this network which has 192.168.20.2. I don't know what is the subnet mask, so let me check the subnet mask. Desktop IP configuration. So subnet mask is 255.255.255.0. so the network is 192.168.21.0 and 255 subnet mask 255.255.255.0. then we have this network 172.16.10.1. okay, 172.16.10.1 and /20. so it should be 172.16./20 is 8 to the 16, so 0.0 and 255.255.240, I guess 24/20, right, 240.0. okay, and next we have this network which is 10.0.1.3. so let me check it once again. 10.0.1.1/16. okay, fine. so this network is 10./16. so 10.0 is the network portion, 0.0 is host portion, and subnet mask will be 255.255.0.0. drag over here, 1 2 3 4 5, so 6th. so what is the IP address of this interface? serial 30 is 192.168.0.1/28. okay, so /28 8 + 4. okay, so the network is 192.168.0.0 and subnet mask is 255.255.255 and 4 bits. so it should be 128 + 64 + 32, 240, right? okay, and finally we have the last Moscow router's internal network. so if I place my cursor on this Moscow router, the internal network IP address is 10.10.10.1 fast Ethernet 0/0/8. okay, so if it is /8, the network portion will be only the first octet, so it's 10.0.0.0 and subnet mask is 255.0.0.0, right? so that's fine. IP address of this PC is 192.168.40.40.2. This is 40.1 over here. .192, 168.40.1, 40.1, and this should be 192.168.10.2, 192.168.10.2, one 92.168.10.1. This is IP address of this green color serial 031 interface. Then we have IP address of this serial 30. So let me show that. Serial 030 is 192.168.0.1, I guess. So let me check once. I think it's 0.1 itself. Serial 30, 192.168.0.1, fine. Then we have Moscow router serial 020 IP address will be 192.168.0.2. Okay, and that's it. Fine, we have done. And this is 192. We don't need these IP addresses. So now we have to configure the static routes. Let me start with the Moscow router so that you will understand. So as you know, in order for a traffic from all these networks, all these machines, for example 192.168.40.2, the traffic has to come from this path. So from this path, from over here, and this is the entry point over here. Sorry, this is the entry point over here. And if I want to get a traffic for this machine, the entry point is this, and if I'm configuring static routes on this, then I should get the traffic from this machine, from this and this ports respectively, interfaces, serial interfaces respectively. So let's start with the Moscow router. So as you know that we have to move to CLI in order to configure, and we should not be in the interface mode. We should exit from the interface mode and we should be in a privilege mode, global configuration mode, in order to configure the routes. And the command to configure the routes on a router is IP route, then the destination network address. Destination network, for example 192.168.40.0 is the destination network, 192.168.40.0 is the destination network, and its subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, and the next hop is 192.168.0.1. So we have added one route successfully. So let me exit and let me show you. Show IP route. So let me maximize the screen. As you can see, we have one static route added to this Moscow router. Okay, so similarly we have to add all the other routes as well. So let me get back to the configuration, global configuration mode, configure terminal, and IP route. The next network is 192.168.10.0, 192.168.10.0. subnet mask is 255.255.255.128, and again you have to pass all your network traffic through this interface, which is serial 031, I guess, on Hyderabad router. So 192.168.168.0.1 inconsistent address and mask. Sorry, this should be 0. It is a network portion. So 192.168.10.0, 255, 128, and that's it. Next is use up arrow key on the keyboard. So exit IP address will be same. And now I'm going to configure, I'm going to add this network to the route 172.16.0.0. So whose subnet mask is 240.0, and the network is 172.16.0.0. 170 IP route. So IP route 172.16.0.0 to 255.240.0. That's fine. That's okay. So if I go to the config tab and if I go to on static, we can see we have added 3 routes over here, and this is the place where we can add a route. Instead of writing this command, I can simply type the network address. So what is the other address over here? We have 10.0.0.0. Subnet mask is 255.255.0.0, 255.255.0.0, 192.168, this one. So if in order to get traffic from this network to this network, the next hop IP is 192.168.0.1. I can add, so it is 192.168.0.1, as you can see at the mouse pointer. Add. So we have added one route, and as you can see the command is executed over here. 10.0.0.0, 255.255, which is subnet mask, and the next hop IP address. So what more we have? We have added 1 2 3 1 2 3 4. I think we have 5 networks, right? 1 2 3 4 5, right? So what did I miss? Which one I miss? 10.0 is there. 192.168.21.1, 192.168.21.0, 192.168.21.0, 255.255.255.0. add. So we have added 5 routes on Moscow router, and if I go to CLI now, command line interface, and let me exit from this mode, which is global configuration mode, and in privilege mode let me execute command show IP route. Now as you can see we have, let me hit continue. So we have 1 2 3 4 and 5 static routes and 2 directly connected, 1 and 2 directly connected interfaces. One should be fast Ethernet and other should be a serial interface on this Moscow router. As you can see over here, this is serial interface and this is fast Ethernet interface, sorry, gigabit Ethernet interface, so which are directly connected. As you can see, C is connected, and S is for static. So we have configured a static routes on this router. So let me repeat this process on the Dubai router as well. So CLI enable config terminal. So we are on the global configuration mode. Now IP address, ARE address, sorry, it's IP route. So what is the destination network? First destination network, let us take this one as a first destination network. 10.0.0.0, subnet mask is 255.0.0.0, and for this the next hop IP is 192.168.10.1. okay, so every traffic that comes from this network, and this network should pass through this interface only. Okay, so 192.168.10.1, right? 192.168.10.1, right? Okay, so next we have IP route, IP route. I am now adding this network to the routing table as a static route. IP route 10.0.0.0, 255.255.0.0, and 192.168.10.1. it is 10.1. so we don't have any errors. That's going cool. So as you can see over here in the config tab, static, we have added two networks to the routing table. Next we have to add 192.168.0.0, 192.168.0.0. subnet mask is 255.255.255.240, 255.255.255.240, 192.168.10.1. okay, 192.168.10.1. so we have added three routes. Now when I add from this interface using this GUI interface, this command will be executed in the background, as you can see on the screen, which I have already told. So let me add other networks also. So 192.168.21.0, 255.255.255.0, add. So we should have 5 networks, I guess. 1 2 3 4. So one more network is left. 1 2 3 4 and 5. So 172 22.16.0.0 0.0, and the subnet mask is 255.240.0, right? So we have added all the routes. So as you can see, so we have 5 routes over here. Now let me come to the Hyderabad router. So in order to get traffic to this Hyderabad router, we have to add this network and this network only, because these networks are directly connected. So let me click on the Hyderabad router. Password Kiran 123, enable great pass, so let me hit show IP route. As you can see, we did not have any static routes over here. We have only directly connected interfaces 1 2 3 4 and 5, 2 serial interfaces and 3 gigabit Ethernet interfaces. So let me go to global configuration mode, configure terminal. So in here I have to add the routes. IP route, where is the command? IP route, this network 10.0.0.0, 10.0.0.0, subnet mask is 255.255. Sorry, it's a 0.0.0. Oh, so what is the next hop IP address? Can you guess? I am now actually configuring the Hyderabad router. I should get traffic all these networks. So in order to get traffic from this network, from which interface the network traffic should pass, either it should pass from this or this. Just pause the video and just try to guess randomly this or this IP address. It's actually 192.168.0.2, 192.168.0.2. That's it. So now we have this network, IP route 192.168.40.0, subnet mask is 255.255.255.0, 192.255.255.0 and 192.168.10.2 is the next hop IP address. 192.168.10.2. So that's it guys, we have configured static routes on all the routers. So if I close this, sorry to tell you that we have to exit, and here you have to type the command copy running configuration and startup configuration in order to save the configuration what we have done earlier. So destination file, just hit enter. So building configuration, okay, and in here also we have to save the configuration on this router as well. So copy running config and startup config, that's it, and on the Dubai router as well. Let me exit, copy running config and startup config. Okay, static routes, right. So we have all the routes configured on these networks. So now if I want to ping from this machine 10.10.0.1.4, command prompt. So earlier we tried to ping 10.10.10.10 machine, that is sending ping request from this machine to this machine, which was unsuccessful. Destination host was unreachable. So let me try that again. It should come. Yes, now we are getting ping replies from this network as well. And let me try pinging 192.168.40.2, 192.168.40.2. sorry guys, this is a new keyboard, still did not get habituated to these keys. 40.2, yes, that's it. So we can ping the remote networks. So this is a remote network to these machines, to these internal networks. So as you can see, this is a server. So let me click on the server, desktop. IP address is 192.168.21.10. okay. Services, HTTP is enabled, DHCP is let me start this service as well. Okay, and let me try to ping 192.168.21.10, which is a web server. So I should get the ping replies, right. So we can actually ping from any machine to any machine. So let me try from this machine to 10.10.10.10 to 192.168.40.2. so I'm pinging from 10.10.10.10 to 192.1 ping 192.168.40.2, right. So I'm getting the ping replies. So that's it guys, we can actually send and receive data from all the machines. So there could be an established communication between any PCs to the remote locations on these networks which are connected via routers. So let me close this machine. So this class demonstrates how to configure a router and how to create a static routes. So guys, when you actually learn courses like CCNA, you will also learn how to configure routes using routing protocols like RAP, OSPF, IGRP, etc. Okay, now let me do one thing. Let me try to send some packets, a network traffic from this machine to this remote machine 192.168.40.2 to 10.10.10.10. let me open this machine, desktop, and here we have an application called traffic generator. Okay, so this is a traffic generator. So I'm generating a traffic from 192.168.40.2 and trying to send some traffic to this machine. So the destination IP address is 10.10.10.10. source IP is 192.168.40.2, right. Yes, it's 40.2. So sequence number is 1. So this is, I am trying to establish a connection. So let me type sequence number 1. Not in a single shot. Let me do it periodically for every 1 second. Now send. Nothing is happening, right? So let me go from real time. As you can see, check my mouse pointer from real time to simulation. When I go to simulation, see we have a letter like icon over here, means we are actually sending some traffic. So if I click on this next button, that is forwarding the traffic. See, the traffic is moving from PC to a switch. Okay, now the packet is traveling from switch to router, from router to again a Hyderabad router, from Hyderabad router to Moscow router. As you can see over here, from machine to switch, switch to Dubai router to Hyderabad router to Moscow, and finally from the switch to a machine. Where is it? Okay, the packet is now at 10.10.10.10. If I click on this icon, as you can see, this is OSI model. The packet is at this machine, which is 10.10.10, and if I go back to the first device, which is 192.168.40.2, we have an IP address, that is destination, which we have configured, source IP and the destination IP, source IP and destination IP. Packet type is ICMP, and we have layer 2 information, that is destination MAC address, and sorry, this is a source MAC address and a destination MAC address, and at layer 1 it is fast Ethernet connected to this interface. Now if I move from this, please keep an eye on the mouse pointer. If I move from this machine to this machine, as you can see, the layer 3 data is encapsulated now, and we have only layer 2 data because this is a switching device. So this is a switch device, and now if I click on the Dubai router again, we will have the layer 3 data once again. See, so routers functions at layer 2 and switches function at layer 3. This is what I tried to explain in the previous module in OSI model. So from Dubai router to Hyderabad router, we will have again layer 3 information, that is source IP, destination IP, and we have layer 2 information, HDLC, frame HDLC, and so on. And on Moscow router, we have again same, that is destination and source IP mentioned over here, layer 2 HDLC and frame HDLC, and port, now it's on serial interface to fast Ethernet interface. As you can see, this is serial interface, and it will move to a this is a Moscow router, from serial interface to fast Ethernet interface, and from this interface the packet will now move to switch over here. So if I click on the Moscow switch, which is 3, layer 2 information, so layer 3 is decapsulated. Now if I finally click on this machine, we have all the information that is reached through this machine, and the data will finally move to the upper layers. So that's it in the class, guys. I want you to check this video once again. If you are a very beginner, you might find it difficult to understand once. So I suggest you to retake this class if necessary. So that's it in the class, guys. Let's meet in the next class. Have a great day. Thank you for watching the video, and do subscribe to the YouTube channel INSECTECHS.